Should you give your relatives a copy of your last will and testament? Well, let's think about this. It certainly makes sense to provide someone your will. Now, a copy is pretty good, but it's not the ideal, and it's not even what they need at the time of your passing. That executor, so give copies to your relatives, but the executor, that person requires the original. Here in New York, the court will require you to file the original when you do a probate. So copy or original, give the original to the executor, copies to relatives. Now, if you give a copy to a relative and then you decide to remove them, person has 2 children, everything 50-50 to my kids, give both children a copy of the will, you give the executor, perhaps it's one of the children, you give the executor the original, and then you decide to change. You want to make things 60-40 or 70-30 or 90-10 or leave someone out. But let's say 60-40. It's an almost even split, but it could cause someone to be aggravated. So you decide to change the will. Now, your relative, your child, whoever you gave it to, has a copy of a will that says 50-50. And then when that original 60-40 will gets presented to the court, what will that relative do? Will they fight? Will they argue? Will they cry? Will they be upset with their sibling? So think about not giving a copy to your relative, just the original to the executor. And then when or if you decide to change your will, take the original back from that executor and give the new original, right? The new last will and testament. Or you're not required to give it to the executor at the time you make it. That executor simply needs access to the original at the time of your passing. So you can put the original in a safe place. You can keep it with your lawyer. There are some pros and cons of placing it in a safe deposit box, but how about a safe, fireproof box in your home? Those are some of the places you should put. And if you have any questions, go to the website. Go to my website, ask me a question, frankbrunolaw.com.